All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, June 19th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total of the game. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that I like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment. And I think I jinxed us yesterday. I was talking about how confident we were, how hot we'd been in baseball, and then we go 3-6. Now, three of those losses were half-unit losses, so, that's okay. Actually, the Royals and the money line and the first five money line for that were split 0.75 and 0.25. So we had three non-full unit losses, so it's going to look a little bit worse than it is, but nonetheless, still a 3-6 night if you just break it up from a win-loss perspective. It was nice to hit the Taylor Ward under 0.5 bases for plus 140, though. We'll take that, but nonetheless, I'm not bragging about last night whatsoever. It's a night that I probably wish we could have said, scoot along, let's forget about it and focus on tonight, all right? So, unfortunately, a tough night there. Our ride of the day, though, does come through and gets the vibes going a little bit more. The tables turn with this one. We had Big Al coming in with the ride of the day, saying Gunnar Henderson over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. And I looked at this one and I was like, I like the spot for Henderson, but the matchup wasn't as great. Like, he had been trending to this line and doing really well. Sure enough, he gets one hit and one run, and we love to see it because that would cash. I think I got this for like plus 102 as well. So you know what? Take a little cha-ching for the ride of the day. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, all you have to do is use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments, and I jump on board with one person's pick each and every day, and then I give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you win, we continue to ride with your pick. So definitely looking to see what Big Al comes with today. But yeah, shout out to the ride of the day win because we didn't have the best winning night in terms of our own picks there. But guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. We're approaching 80,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it. If you are new here and have not subscribed, we post videos every single day, and we have fun while we're doing it. We're not just a robotic channel being like beep boop bop boop beep, money line this side, total this side. No, like I'm a human too, making these bets. We're gonna have good nights, we're gonna have bad nights, we're gonna laugh at the bad ones, celebrate the good ones, that type of thing. So if you're new, I think you'll like it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let's jump into game number 1 here. We got Atlanta taking on Detroit. On the mound for Atlanta is going to be Ronaldo Lopez, or at least projected to start is Ronaldo Lopez, going up against Tariq Screwball here, who both these pitchers are having very good years. Lopez having a good season at home, but nothing really compared to what Screwball's done overall, right? The dude has been absolutely crazy good. Cy Young candidate, Cy Young pitching right now, honestly. So I do think in terms of that, like the only way that I lean would be to say, you know what, give me Screwball with plus money behind him. I think that there could be some value there. Now, Atlanta has won both of the last 2 games here against Detroit in this series. They won 2-1 in both of those games. So if Atlanta's offense isn't cooking, which again, we talked about this prior to this series, right? Atlanta's offense started to heat up. They scored 6 runs, 7 runs, 9 runs, and 6 runs in their 4 previous games. But I kind of called some regression, and there has been regression. It's just that Detroit hasn't scored either. So it's kind of tough to hope that Detroit goes out there and scores, but I don't think Atlanta's going to have like a bomb fest off of Scooble. They haven't done that to Olsen or Mize yet. You know what I mean? So I do think this could be a good spot to get Detroit for plus money. Whether it's a first 5 play or a full game play, I'm not necessarily pinned on that yet. I would say that, Atlanta, 3 of the studs in the bullpen went yesterday, including the closer, so maybe this is a spot to be able to play Detroit full game, but overall, Atlanta's bullpen is just a hair better than Detroit's, or has been this season, so maybe there is a look there to say, hey, let's go with first 5, because you're going to get plus money either way. When it comes to a total in this game, it is way down there at 7, but I completely understand why. First off, you've seen 2-1 games so far, like I said, in both games. And now you have Ronaldo Lopez and Tariq Scooble on the mound against 2 offenses that have kind of proved that they're not going to go out there and do crazy great, right? So I'm going to lean towards the under, even though taking an under 7 is super scary. In terms of what you can get for a first 5 under, just trusting both of these pitchers, right? I don't necessarily mind kind of going at it from that angle. First 5 under, I just had it up. First 5 under here, you can get under, where was it? Under 3.5 for even odds. Like, a 2-1 game after 5, I could totally see that with these pitchers. So for plus 100 over on FanDuel, that could be a look as well. But nonetheless, guys, I think I'm more or less on Detroit in this spot to some degree, some way, shape, or form. Pittsburgh taking on Cincinnati. We had the Reds on the money line yesterday, and man, oh man, did we have to sweat this one out. They win 2-1. They're up 2-0. Then Pittsburgh crawls back late in the game, and I'm like, oh my God, we're already probably not off to the best start with our games. Are we about to get screwed? We did not. Luckily, Cincinnati pulls it out. Now we have Mitch Keller on the mound going up against Hunter Green. Mitch Keller has looked pretty good. I mean, if you exclude his last start against Pittsburgh, he had let up 2 home runs. But prior to that, the dude was kind of dealing. Hunter Green, though, is kind of in like limbo right now. He's kind of giving you an average of, I would say, 4 to 6 innings pitched. Definitely high strikeouts, 5+, 6+, but allowing like minimum 3 runs, so it's a little worrisome there. That being said, last time he played against Pittsburgh, I did like the spot. They lost the game, but this was it was last year, so take it for what it's worth. But over 6 innings pitched, just 4 hits, an earned run, and 6 Ks. So maybe he has some sort of a talent that we see against them. I'm gonna lean towards Cincinnati because I think you're getting the better price tag at +105 for an offense that may be slightly better. And, I'm thinking that if Mitch Keller doesn't go out there and excel, Mitch Keller seems to me at least either he's going to be a stud or he's going to actually get kind of rocked around. And I don't know if this is a spot to which, I want to pay that price at -120 to guarantee that Mitch Keller is going to be able to go out there and be sound. You know what I mean? So I'm going to lean towards, like I said, Cincinnati here. But again, because it's a plus money play, very similar to what we just looked at with Detroit. Like if this was odds flipped, I wouldn't be as confident in Cincinnati. I still might lean in their direction because I'm kind of banking this off of the offense and the fact that they won yesterday. Maybe there's momentum there. But because we're getting plus money, that's kind of where my head immediately goes. I also am going to lean slightly towards the over. I could see this being like a 5-4 game or getting at least a 5-3, which would be a push in this case. So I will lean towards the over as well, over 8, because I think even if it's Hunter Green that gets rocked, one of these pitchers I don't think has a great night, and this is sitting at 8 right now, not 8.5. So I think that this could be a decent spot to consider it over. All right, Miami taking on St. Louis. We had a bunch of comments yesterday just ripping me for leaning towards Miami. Didn't even play it. That was a back-and-forth game, and Miami wins, and they had a +130 price tag behind them. So do you see what I mean with the value? I said it's Miami or nothing for me because I can't really get behind Lance Lynn. Well, look what happened. Miami wins. If you followed that, you would have cashed a +130. I didn't take it myself, of course, but I just wanted to call the fact that we had a bunch of guppies being like, that's a stupid breakdown. This is an obvious spot for the Cardinals. It wasn't an obvious spot for the Cardinals, especially at that price tag at -140. But nonetheless, here, new game today. We do have Miami with a pitcher on the mound that I don't believe we have any starts yet this season. Correct. We have Yoni Chirinos on the mound, who didn't look all that tremendous in his starts last year. He's going up against, for St. Louis here, Kyle Gibson, who kind of went through a rough stretch against Houston and then Colorado, and then played the Cubs last time out, which about a week ago in his last start. 7 innings pitched, 6 Ks, 0 earned runs, in which, was a great performance from him. But the last time he played the Cubs was Miami back in April. 6 innings pitched, 7 earned runs, 2 home runs, 5 strikeouts. Not the best there, but overall, I do expect, a guy making his first start of the season, St. Louis's offense being better. I can see why the St. Louis is heavily favored in this one. Just not enough for me to pull the trigger on them, but now I get it. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, I talked about how I couldn't back Lance Lynn at that price tag. Today, even with Kyle Gibson getting crushed by Miami earlier in the year, I don't necessarily sit there and say, oh my God, they have his number. No. So I do lean St. Louis, but at that price tag, I don't think that is worth playing whatsoever here. So I'd probably peel back from this one. If anything, I could look at the total over in this game because, say, Kyle Gibson does get rocked, right? I'm expecting the Cardinals to get a decent amount of runs here off of Chirinos, and then obviously into the Miami bullpen. So maybe even the way that we can play St. Louis to some degree, right, would be looking at their team total over. I think it's going to be, over 3.5 is -160 on ESPN. Over 4.5 is -110. So yeah, if we're rooting for St. Louis to go out there and get 5 runs, it's almost like taking the money line and taking them to get to this pitcher. So maybe that is a play that we kind of consider as well. St. Louis here, team total over, but I don't mind the over in the full game either. Neither one of these pitchers scare me, and I'm hoping that we have some momentum after extra innings yesterday, where a lot of runs were end up coming through here. It was a 9-8 finish. In terms of a player prop here, I don't mind looking looking at Jose Fermin under 1.5 bases. I just think that this could be, one, a decent matchup, but two, a decent trend. The dude has not necessarily been crushing this line whatsoever, but, you know, you're going to have a tough time finding his alternate under 1.5 because right now his under 0.5 is heavily, you know, odds at plus 150. So if you want to take the flyer there, sure, but I kind of want to wait up to see if we can somehow get under 2 bases. And also, just kind of stumbled upon this one now, Alec Burleson under 1.5 bases. I don't mind that spot either. He did just have 5 bases yesterday, but you're getting the under at minus 105. Most sportsbooks have this in the minus 115 to minus 120 range, so that could be one we consider too, but it's more or less because of the odds you're getting. Like I said, minus 105 on DK, other sportsbooks kind of juicing the hell out of it. Not the hell out of it, but juicing it even more. All right, guys, I want to talk to you about Sleeper, my favorite DFS player prop app out there right now, and they have a free square for new users who sign up today. Kevin Gausman, 0.5 strikeouts. Well, it should be a free square. His normal strikeout line sitting at 5.5. Guys, I have a link for Sleeper in the pinned comment. It's also right in the description of this video. Use that link to go sign up and get the app. They're going to match your first deposit 100%. You could throw in $100. They'll give you $100 free. Now you have $200 to play with. You could put in $50. They'll match it. You'll have $100 to play with. 25, you get it, guys. They'll match it. You'll have 50 to play with, and you get this Kevin Gausman free square. If you don't know what Sleeper is, it is a player prop app. You combine 2 or more player props into slips, or I guess you could use the term parlays, right? And the more you win out of those ones that you throw into your slip, the more you get paid out. In each and every play you throw into your slip here over on Sleeper, it changes the payout dynamically based on what play you just threw in. So it doesn't just follow the fixed payout structure like all of the other apps. 2 for 2 is 3x and that type of thing. No, Sleeper you can run up to 100 times over on, and it truly is. I think it's my favorite interface. They have more lines available. They have alternate lines available and more players available. I'm sure you see, you know, if you're on apps like Prize Picks, which I also like, but you see someone give out a pick, you're like, oh, I want to tail that. You go over there on Prize Picks and it's not available. They don't even have that on the board. Sleeper usually does. So go ahead and check it out, guys. If it's available in your state and you're not on Sleeper, I swear you are missing out on the best DFS player prop app out there now. And they're making so many adjustments every single, I would say, month. So go check it out, guys. Link in the pinned comment as well as the description. I stand by this. If you sign up for Sleeper, I'm confident that you're going to love it. And you get this free square. How could you not, right? Link in the pinned comment. Let's go ahead and jump back into the rest of these games. Philadelphia taking on San Diego, and I really liked this matchup before I saw the price behind it. We have Ranger Suarez on the mound, who I've just been loving to bet on this season, going up against, who is it, Matt Waldron. Like, I think this could just be a really good spot for Philadelphia, but obviously the books kind of are quick to that, right? Minus 170 is a little bit too much, juice, if you ask me, but we could consider a Phillies first 5 run line here. That is something that definitely could pique my interest because you're going to be able to get that at minus 115 or minus 120 in that range, which is great. So essentially, they just have to win the first 5 innings, and I expect them to do so. I think they have a huge pitching advantage today with Ranger Suarez on the mound. And you know what? This is a Philadelphia lineup that I just kind of can trust. Yesterday, they win 4-3. They've won both games so far in the series. I believe they lost. No, they won the first 5 yesterday too. So they have that momentum. This is a low-scoring game until sort of the relief came in. So maybe it's even better to target Philadelphia in this spot here. But yeah, give me them on the first 5. In terms of the total, I guess I would also like the over, but not because I think the starters are going to go out there and do poorly or anything like that. Like, I think this is just going to could be like a 5-4 game to finish, but maybe San Diego could get to Philadelphia after Suarez comes in. So I think that this is like a first 5 money line play for me that I feel secure about. But then I'm almost thinking, all right, let's get some late runs like we saw yesterday. But I don't know if I would be saying over if we didn't just see the majority of those runs come in. Like we saw, it was a 4-3 game yesterday. We only saw 1 run in the first 5 innings. The rest came in bullpen time. So you know what I mean? Like, maybe there's a little bit of recency bias towards that. But nonetheless, it's still the direction that I'm leaning in, just because I think the Phillies to win games a lot of times can score a bunch of runs. So yeah, I'll lean in that direction. I also don't mind Bryson Stott under 1.5 bases here. It's a little weird because you never know exactly what you're going to get from Waldron, and not a lot of guys have knuckleball pitches against experience, so maybe it's one that we just don't really mess around with, honestly. All right, we got the Cubbies taking on the Giants. When I say it like that, the Cubbies taking on the Giants, that sounds like a big old mismatch. But nonetheless, Cubs at home here. They win yesterday 5-2. We have another really, really high total. This one's at 11, which you guys can always assume when there's a really high total in Chicago. At Wrigley, there is usually wind blowing out, which I think that's the case today without even looking at it. And if that's the case, I do think that the Cubs probably have a better sort of spot here. Spencer Howard is slated to start for the Giants. We don't have that confirmed yet. Going up against Kyle Hendricks, who I'm not going to sit here and be like, Kyle Hendricks has been really good, this season. He hasn't. He's been allowing plenty of runs, but I don't necessarily see him against this Giants team struggling. So this is going to be a spot in which I'm saying, you know what, back the home team. I think that there's a lot of runs scored, so I'll take the more experienced pitcher, and that's kind of it. Now, is that enough information or data to say, hey, let's make this a final play? Not necessarily sure, but I do think that this Cubs, team, if they're able to get to a pitcher that has struggled, it could be worth, the juice may be worth the squeeze. So we shall see. In terms of the total, like I said, I'm not going to refute that wind blown out. So I'll lean towards the over, but we've seen the wind blowing out in a few games recently for the Cubs, right? That game against St. Louis, well, the total was what? I think it was 10.5. It closed out, but it was at 11 at one point. It was a 2-1 game. And then we saw I think in game number 1 of this series, it was a high-scoring game, and that was the same situation. So, take that for what it's worth. We have one game each recently where this wind was doing the same thing. One was a huge scoring game. One was a low-scoring game. But one was in this series, so Cubs, San Francisco, maybe they do score when the wind's blown out. So I'll lean over, but nothing that I'm loving. All right, Washington taking on Arizona. So far, Arizona looked pretty good yesterday, 5-0 win. Irvin did not look all that great. Slade Ciccone actually did, so things kind of flipped on their head there. Today, I do think that we have a pretty, I would say, severe-ish pitching matchup. Like Brandon Pfaadt's, advanced numbers look a hell of a lot better than his ERA and typical numbers do. So give him a little bit of credit there, to be completely honest. And he's going up against Patrick Corbin, who I've been saying, like, Patrick Corbin is certainly a fadeable pitcher here. He had one of his better starts of the season. They still lost last game, but they're 0-5 in his last 5 starts. And Pfaadt, you know what? His last start against the Angels looked pretty good. 6 innings pitched, 8 Ks, just 1 earned run. So I think this is a spot for Arizona. But unfortunately, I don't think you're going to catch me, betting on this Diamondbacks team, though their offense is starting to look pretty good, but nearly -170 odds. If we can get this in the low -160s, if this moves in the next couple hours, I think I might pull the trigger. But as of right now, that's a little bit too much. And in terms of the total 9.5, that also seems like a little bit too much for one, a Washington offense that seems like they've struggled, and two, an Arizona offense that this total seems like it's bumped just because Arizona's starting to score some runs, right? But I need to see a little bit more consistency. Now, you probably hear me say that, and you're like, how much more consistency do you want? You've seen almost like an 8-game sample size of them having pretty high scoring runs, except for like one game. But I just want to see a little bit more, okay? That's all I'm asking for. So I'm going to lean towards the under in this spot as well. But I understand if someone's out there being like, Arizona's scoring a bunch of runs. At any given moment, Washington can score runs. Pfaadt's had plenty of games where he allows plenty of runs. I can get it if someone's sitting there being like, well, this is an over type of game all day long. But nonetheless, to me, I'm going under. And I want to bet Washington, but I want to get a good price tag. Right now, they're overpriced. All right, Cleveland going up against Seattle. Tanner Beebe on the mound for the Guardians, or Bybee, going up against Brian I could pronounce that last name. You bet your bottom dollar I can. In terms of what I like in this spot, I don't mind going back to Seattle here, just due to the fact that, they look like they're playing good baseball. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They're scoring some runs finally, too. So, for an underdog to get a good price tag behind them, right now you can get Seattle for +130. Like, I don't mind that spot. Now, I do think that the more likely play to hit, this is going to be kind of confusing if people don't understand this, so give me a sec. Confusing, people don't understand, no kidding. But Cleveland's probably more likely to win with Bybee on the mound, and they've lost 3 straight. They are due. But for the +130 price tag, I think that this is a little bit more of a value play on the side of, the Mariners, where I think this is more of like a 50-50 type game to get +122. I'll take all day long. So I do think this is a good Seattle spot, but I understand why someone would go towards Cleveland, because they are due. They should be in a bounce back spot, and they still do over the last 30 days have the better offense, and I would say the better bullpen as well. but for the price that you're paying, I don't think that the value is there. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, it's almost like I say it in a bunch of my videos. If I think a game's a coin flip game, but one team, you're going to get plus 130 if they win, why wouldn't you take the value side? Because if they win, which is a 50-50 spot, you're getting paid out like it was a 60-40 spot and you were on the 40 side. So I like that type of spot. In terms of the total here, I'll give both pitchers a little bit of credit. I don't mind taking a peek here at the Mariners. In fact, even if I were to bet Mariners money line, I'd probably look at them on the first 5 too. Now that I say that out loud, but I think that Wu pitches well, and then BB also kind of pitches well. So I think it's like a 4-3 game regardless. All right, interesting one here. We got Baltimore taking on the Yankees. Yankees. Looks like they're going to have Garrett Cole starting for them today, going up against Cade Povich, who is still a pitcher that I don't even know what to make of. He was terrible in his first start, and then he looked pretty good in his second start. And when I say pretty good, 6 innings pitched, just 5 hits, 6 Ks, no walks, 14 pitches per inning, 0 earned runs. So he looked good in that start, right? But now he's going up against one of the best lineups in baseball coming up now, and both these teams playing good baseball against Garrett Cole. Like, I don't know. This is such a tough one to peg. I'm going to lean towards the Yankees because I do think Garrett Cole, apparently he's looked, I haven't seen any of it, apparently he's looked amazing in his rehab starts, which I don't put much weight into. Like a Cy Young pitcher going and pitching against a bunch of, non-MLB players and be like, oh, he looked good. It's like, no kidding. Like, there's a chance that I'd look good there. Not really. No offense to the AAA and AA and single A players. But Garrett Cole pitching against them, it's like, I don't put weight into him being like, yeah, I struck those guys out. So tough one for me, but I do think that this Yankees offense, regardless of who's pitching, is trustworthy. So I'll lean towards the Yankees, but I kind of wanted to get to, I think the contrarian pick today is going to be to fade Cole and back Baltimore for a nice price tag. You can get the Orioles at plus 150. I just couldn't get there myself. So let me know in the comments if you do like Baltimore, because I think it could be a decent sort of, everybody and their grandmother's ex-boyfriend is going to like the Yankees today, right? But I don't know, Baltimore to some degree, they're playing good baseball too, In terms of the total, I'll lean towards the over. Maybe that's the way that we can kind of root on the Orioles, because I also don't trust Cade Povich against the Yankees, right? So I'll lean towards the over in this spot as well. And we're struggling to get player props this morning, obviously, but with Povich on the mound, and then, you're not exactly sure what you're going to get out of Garrett Cole, makes it a really tough player prop spot as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment for all of my added plays or anything that we adjust or anything like that, because sometimes we find some player props that we really like throughout the day, and we throw it in there. That's why we do the pinned comment format, because I think it'd be silly for me at 6 a.m. to give you everything that I'm betting for the day when it's like, dude, we have hours and hours and hours of research coming. You know what I mean? So, yeah, keep an eye on the pinned comment for any added plays or anything like that. All right, Toronto taking on the Red Sox. This was a very good game yesterday. I wanted to go ahead and bet on Tanner Houck strikeouts, and I didn't. And I also even said in yesterday's video, Red Sox all day long for me. And I didn't bet that either. So our leans were right, spot on in this one, but unfortunately I didn't get to pulling the trigger. But nonetheless, today we have Kevin Gausman on the bump against Brian Bayo. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think both these guys in their history against these teams have seriously struggled. Kevin Gausman, in nearly 100 plate appearances against, has a batting average against of 345, a K rate of 26, a WOBA 376. Brian Bayo, 60 plate appearances against, a nearly 390 batting average at 389, an expected WOBA today, 356. Both these guys are good pitchers. I'm not saying they're not, but do not have the success against these teams here. But overall, I think that from a money line perspective, I'm going to give a slight nod to Toronto, just because I think they're going to play this game close. And if it's a bunch of runs being scored and all that, I'll take who's the more proven pitcher, Gausman, even though he's definitely had his struggles this season. He started to at one point shore things up, but I like this. I just think that he's going to end up, if one of these guys is going to pitch a gem out of left field type of thing, I think it's going to be Gausman. So give me them on the money line, but I think I'm going over 8.5 more than anything, to be completely honest. I think it's a high scoring game today. I think we have good weather, if I'm not mistaken. Let me confirm that weather. It's in a dome, so yeah, they have perfect weather, guys. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I like it. I'll take the over, as well as a potential lean, honestly, towards Toronto. But this Red Sox team's playing such good baseball that it's a little bit worrisome to lean towards, I guess, lean away from this the Red Sox, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm doing it, but I think the over is just how you back both teams having success today. Duh. All right, we got Minnesota taking on Tampa Bay here. In this one, we got Joe Ryan on the mound going up against Taj Bradley. So weird. I feel like Joe Ryan just pitched recently, but whatever. Yesterday, Minnesota wins this one 7-6, and I think you're getting decent odds for a team that I do believe is better. Minnesota right now, minus 158 is going to be the direction I lean in. They've won 8 of their last 10. They've won 6 straight games, and this Tampa Bay lineup is just nothing that's going to scare me. You have Taj Bradley on the mound who has stunk on the road. I think he's actually a good pitcher, and when he gets in a groove, like, this is going to sound like a hot take, I guess, but Taj Bradley, when he's in a groove and striking guys out, I don't know if there's many guys in the league that get in sort of a good rhythm like him. But on the road, he's got a 2.04 whip this year, a FIP of 11, expected FIP of 5, batting average against a 371. So he's pitching against a good offense, nearly top 5 in all of their statistical categories. You take a peek here at the dashboard. Minnesota, last 30 days batting against righties, right in here, looking really good. At home against righties, looks even better. So I think this could be a good spot. By the way, the dashboard that you're seeing right here is our MLB dashboard that we create each and every day, and we provided to the channel members $2.99 a month to get this breakdown for every single game. Is an absolute steal if you ask me. You can see we have it every single game, from a starting pitcher, the pitch mix, we have the batting last 30, the batting against the certain pitches, and then we also have bullpen data there as well. So go ahead and check it out, guys. I'll have a link in the description to become a channel member, and also if you do want to just do this, I think there should be a join button somewhere next to like the subscribe and like button on the channel as well, making it super easy. We provide a link every single day, so consider becoming a channel member. We call you guys the ballers. Shout out to all the ballers that do support on a monthly basis. Again, $2.99 a month seems like a steal for the information and the work that we put into this. All right, Texas taking on the Mets. I think my lean in this one's going to kind of come down to almost what I said yesterday, and I think I would have said this today regardless of even yesterday's another win for the Mets, but give me the Mets at minus 106. Do I like Sean Manaea? Not at all. But this Mets team, in terms of batting lefties in the last 30 days, you're gonna struggle to find anybody better. Going up against Andrew Heaney, who has not been tremendous, a little bit better at home, but to me, like, it still just is not worth saying, you know what, like, it's time to fade the Mets. It just isn't. So I'll lean Mets in this one. I didn't pull the trigger yesterday because I still am kind of like, is this Mets team trustworthy? Like, they keep playing a lot, but are they trustworthy? I'm not exactly sure. I'll also like the over in this game. I could see a 5-4 type of a spot here. Yesterday, 7-6, and the good thing about betting, I guess, overs in terms of what the Mets are doing lately, like, if they're going to crush, they're going to score a bunch of runs and make this, like, I don't want to say easy, but they've had double-digit games in their 2 of their last 3, and yesterday they had 7. So an over seems like it could be a decent spot to pull the trigger on here today as well. All right, White Sox taking on Houston. Garrett Crochet on the mound for the White Sox, which is the reason behind why this line is where it is. Right now, White Sox plus 105, Houston plus minus 120, excuse me. Garrett Crochet is, I really do like this dude. Going up against Hunter Brown, who I can also say I really don't like that dude. And Garrett Crochet is a lefty. Houston, not the same offense against lefties overall. But to me, I don't think Houston drops 2 straight to start this series against Chicago. So I almost view this as okay, try and wipe from your brain that Crochet's on the mound, even though the dude is a dog and he's been pitching well. And I mean, he's a stud. And you have Hunter Brown, who stinks, but has 2 good starts in a row. Let's make note of that. I'm going to say, give me Houston here. Minus 120 tag. I know they don't like lefties as much as righties, but you're getting Houston for a price in which I believe they're still by far and away the better team. So, yeah, I think that this is one where we're kind of taking a chance, but we're getting really good value from Houston here with a minus 120 price tag. So, give me Houston on the money line. And I think by doing so, I like the over slightly. I don't know if I end up pulling the trigger on that. I'm much more likely to just bet Houston money line, kind of set it and forget it and say, just do your thing. Even though Garrett Crochet is good, even though you're not as good against lefties, like, just go do your thing, right? So I'm going to lean towards the over, but I doubt I bet that. I am much more willing to take a chance, I would say, on the Astros just overall. I don't mind Gavin Sheets under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's hit the under here in 7 of his last 10, in 12 of his last 20, and in 5 straight games. If you want to go with his bases, you can't get a 1.5 right now, so under 0.5 for plus 140 is something that I would consider as well, but it may be something that I look at just from a perspective of his hits, runs, and RBIs. I also don't mind Jake Myers, same thing, under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. All right, Colorado taking on the Dodgers. We have Feltner on the mound going up against Bobby Miller. I said Colorado yesterday, right? And then all of a sudden, storming back were the Dodgers. So good thing we didn't bet that one. Same thing here. I don't really find much of the value in the Dodgers, especially with Bobby Miller just coming back. So I'm going to lean towards Colorado. But again, like, I'm glad that the comments have been respectful because I'm leaning Colorado because I can't, by default, right? I can't find this value on taking the Dodgers here at this price tag. Even yesterday, like, they almost lost. I don't say almost lost, but Colorado could have won that game. That's a better way of putting it. In terms of the total, I think this one's going to go under. I mean, if Bobby Miller pitches well, then great. He's going to shut down this Rockies offense. And I don't know if this Dodgers offense seems to be as consistent as we would need to take an over of 10.5 here. So, yeah, I'm going to lean towards the under, fading the altitude today. But you could probably tell by how quickly we went through this game, this is not my favorite matchup of the day. All right, the Angels taking on Milwaukee here. On the mound for the Angels, looks like it's going to be Tyler Anderson going up against Freddie Peralta, listed to start today. This is an Angels team that, well, I guess Milwaukee doesn't bat that well against lefties, but the Angels don't really bat that well against righties. So kind of an interesting spot here to try and take a peek at. At the end of the day, Freddie Peralta, I do really like. I know he's going to have his ups and downs. I know people are going to feel some type of way about him because he hasn't been pitching well, but, and honestly, Anderson's been pitching pretty damn well, right? His only bad game was against Houston, and, like, Houston's a damn good offense. But to me, this could be a good spot to take Milwaukee. The problem is, and I've said it before, the price tag isn't all that great. You know what I mean? Minus 150-ish for a team that I feel like should be in the minus 135 range is kind of tough to digest. In terms of the first five, maybe that's where you can get some sort of an advantage, just trusting Freddie Peralta against Anderson. But again, Anderson's been pitching well, so if you are on the Angel side of things, I don't mean to talk you off here. I think the play that I would like more than anything is the over. I think that one of these teams gets it going today in terms of, you know, one of the pitchers kind of lacks. And we saw a 6-3 game yesterday. The game with 4 was, what, 5-4, 5-3 actually. So, you know, they're hovering right around this line, and I think both teams have the chance of, you know, Freddie Peralta has another stinker, boom, the Angels going to score on him. Tyler Anderson kind of comes back down to earth after pitching so well for so long. Boom, the Brewers put up some numbers. You know what I mean? One of these teams I do think has a chance of putting up a decent number today. So it does make me lean towards the over right off the rip there. In terms of player props in the spot, Rhys Hoskins under 1.5 bases, don't mind that as well. I kind of like the idea of going back to the well here with Taylor Ward under 0.5 hits, but we got that at plus 140 and hit it yesterday. It's only plus 110 now, so that's a little bit too much. Nolan Schnell under 0.5 strikeouts, also something that I would consider, but his K rate does go up against fastballs, so kind of looking at some flyers here in terms of, like, you know, plus money plays, but overall, I think the Rhys Hoskins may be seemingly the most safe play here, but definitely some opportunity in some player props in this spot. Just haven't locked any in yet. Oakland taking on Kansas City. I thought we were on to something here with this play yesterday, and it blows up in our face. Marsh only goes 3 innings, and the A's win 7-5. In terms of what we have today, we do have a little bit of better pitching situation on the mound for Kansas City. Cole Reagan's going up against Luis Medina, so yeah, that's why the Royals are now minus 165, but still something that I would consider playing, in all honesty. Maybe similar to what we did yesterday, split in the first half as well as the full game. Now they're super juiced, so we'll see if we can get there, but Cole Reagan's should have a pitching advantage. The problem is in his limited, you know, sample size here against the not the problem, I shouldn't say that. The problem for the Royals is that Luis Medina, in his limited sample size against the Royals, he's looked very good, but the counter to that would be that Reagan's has also looked very good in his small sample size against his Oakland team. So I think this is an under type game already, and I know that the books kind of caught up to that with a 7.5 line, but I could see a 4-3 win here for the Royals. So I don't mind taking an under in this spot as well. And then, though I don't have any right now on the tip of my tongue, I think this could be a very good under spot for some player props, because I think both these pitchers could perform, to be completely honest. But give me the Royals money line as well as a slight lean towards the under. And guys, that's going to wrap for today's video. If you made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment 33. Shout out to Larry Bird. Appreciate all of the comments as of late. And it was fun doing it yesterday. You know, who do you guys think of when you think of 32? That was the number yesterday. Who do you think of when you see 33 in terms of a professional athlete? I immediately jump to Larry Bird. I have a million Larry Bird bobbleheads there. I have his high school unopened, his college unopened, but the box is a little bit damaged, and then his his Celtics bobblehead unopened. So I love Larry Bird. That's what I think of when I think of 33. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think of 33. And one last thing, actually, I probably should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I'm going to be traveling this weekend starting tomorrow for another bachelor party. I know traveling, vacation, out and about, but we are on fire when we're on vacation. So the videos, I think tomorrow I'll be able to get a normal video out, but the videos for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday are going to look a little bit different, assuming we can get a recording done for all those. So FYI there, but we'll still grind our asses off if we can get a video out, we will, which we have been doing. Like the only times we don't record are when we have like an early flight and it's like we physically cannot do it. So it is what it is, but I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.